Hey, and welcome to H7 Bus. Brandon, is going to play a game apparently he first played when he was 10. Warhammer 40k, Dawn of War.
I would not recommend this game for 10-year-olds normally. However, I have fond memories of this game. My stepdad was in the military and he had a PC, and I would play on it when he was out deployed. And this is one of those games. It's an RTS game. It's called Dawn of War. This is Game of the Year edition, the original one to come out in 2004.
2004, yeah.
It is set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. It is a grimdark, far future sci-fi
Fantasy,
universe.
sci-fi, yeah.
Yes. It is not for children. I'm gonna say that now. It's not meant for kids.
I started thinking it was cool as a teenager, though. So
Teenagers is a
it's just if you know anything about Warhammer, it's pretty serious. That's just the thing. Is it's like it's not. Star Wars is meant to be like hopeful and inspiring. Yeah. Star Trek is trying to like look to the future at what utopia and paradise would look like. This is just like what if it's all about war? What if it's all
Warhammer is a
what if it's really just like it tells really serious crazy stories. But yeah, I guess that's kind of like a little bit of a warning. Obviously I'm not going to put anything on the channel that I think is bad, but this is just not for everybody. So there you go. All right, yep. Brandon, I know nothing about this game. I've only played like 3 hours of the second one with you. So
yeah, it's a good game.
Jump in. Let's do this.
Okay. This game is old, but we're going to go for the campaign. The campaign is simple. You start off, there's one campaign for this original game. We're just going to jump into it. Let's play mission.
Mission 1.
So, I believe
mission, it's loaded. You got that fast RAM.
Yeah, so the base of the campaign is, I believe you're fighting over the planet of Tartarus, which is an imperial colony which is under attack by orcs.
Okay.
You are a Space Marine chapter that has been called in to help the planet and defend its citizens from the orc invasion.
So, tell you a little bit about 40k, which he knows much more than I do. He's the one who told me about it, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. But the Imperial, when we're talking about the Imperials, that's mankind. Yeah. And the Space Marines are like, if you're a Halo fan, they're like Spartans times 10, pretty much.
Oh, it's insanity. 5 Master Chiefs
humans
lose a fight.
Yeah, that's what the Imperial Space Marines are. They're the like big, strong guys, and that's who you play as in this.
Don't get it wrong though, in Warhammer, the meat and the potatoes of the human military is the Guard, the Imperial Guard.
Yeah, normal dudes still exist,
So that's a great example
just big dudes.
Of the dystopian future, by the way. The Imperium is so like just brutal, like, yeah, we're losing this war and our soldiers are breaking morale and retreating. No, you're a coward. No. Boom. It's terrible. That's what I mean by it's absolutely grimdark and terrible.
Yeah.
But it also has some of the most interesting storytelling I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's certainly the first time I heard it. Oh, it's Gabriel Angelos. Well, yeah, the first time I heard about Warhammer and you just started to explain it to me, some of the stuff I saw, I was like, man, this is really interesting. I mean, it's crazy serious. It's crazy powerful. Like the power scale, the technology they have, the warriors they have are nuts. But some of the stories are interesting and cool for normal sci-fi fans, and then some of them were really serious, and they made me go like, I don't know if I wish I had listened to that. Right?
One of my favorite characters is a guy named Caiaphas Cain. He's just a regular human commissar in the Imperial Guard. And
he's crazy.
He is an absolute self-proclaimed coward, and he has the galaxy's worst case of imposter syndrome. And he truly believes he is incompetent. But he is probably the most competent normal human out there.
It's crazy.
In the 41st
How
millennium.
he's like the Jar Jar Binks of 40k.
Except not incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jar Jar does, but still in the same way of like, he does crazy good stuff on accident.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, to tell you a little bit about Space Marines. These are the Blood Ravens. They're a Space Marine chapter, thinking of how you would have in, other armies or whatever, different battalions or squads or something of the sort, right? So this is a chapter that's a different group of Space Marines. These ones are Blood Ravens, led by this guy. What's his name? Gabriel Angelos or whatever.
There we go.
And before we get too far in the video, if you're like, what the heck is Warhammer? This looks kind of interesting. Listen, there's this guy on YouTube. His name is Luton. Luton09. He's like the Warhammer guy. So if you want to learn about Warhammer, before you go any further, if you're wanting to have a background on this and don't just want to see cool game or whatever,
off the map? That's crazy.
in the description there will be a video by him that is his What is Warhammer video. So you can totally watch that if you're curious to know what the heck this is.
This is what the screen resolution does, by the way. If you mess it up, it makes it bug out. So I can't click there on the mini-map. I have to scroll.
The map, yeah, is totally bugged out. Wow. Yeah, this is an old game, so playing it at higher res is kind of buggy.
It's fine.
That's interesting.
I'll make it work.
We'll figure it out, right?
So it's an RTS game, Nate. So basically,
real-time strategy.
So this first level is very much a tutorial, and as the campaign goes, they give you more and more individual aspects you can add to the game to slowly teach you how the game works.
Like more soldiers and more vehicles. And
exactly, and then by the end of the campaign, you can fully do everything the game has to offer.
Yeah.
But until that point, really, you're just. Which, by the way, is interesting. The Blood Ravens are one of the few Space Marine chapters that actually... I don't know where I'm going with this thought. Oh, hey. I forgot they were here.
Orcs. Well,
lots of them. This is the power of a Space Marine captain, by the way.
He can just take care of them by himself?
Well, yeah. He's going to take a lot of damage. He might even die here. We'll see.
Is that okay? Oh, yeah, it looks like he's not doing good.
Oh, he's great. He just killed like 3 people.
Which one's the health? Is the health the green?
Yeah. His morale is the blue. He will not lose this.
He's halfway there, though. His health is going down.
Sorry.
What if he dies? What happens?
He'll respawn.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know anything about this game, so...
Yeah, no, my apologies.
I don't know how this
doing
works,
a very good job of explaining. Yeah, he'll die here, but he killed like half of them.
Okay.
And then these guys are just going to mop up.
Oh, it says commander return. Yeah.
So the campaign kind of takes it easy on you because you're supposed to be learning at this stage. I like to just throw them in for fun.
Okay.
So there's a few things you can do in this game. One is you can make command groups. So hit control and then hit a number. Next time you hit that number, it'll select that existing group.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you can queue up commands. So for example, if I hold shift, he will do those commands in that order.
Huh. Wow.
And that goes for these guys too. So like builders, I can go boom, boom, boom. And he will construct those in that order.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an RTS game, real-time strategy. You have a map and fog of war. That's the places you can't see. And your job is, you have some objective, whether it's taking over an enemy base or building up your base or finding something or fighting some soldiers or capturing something. And your job is to journey into the fog of war, open up the map, figure out what's all in it and what's going on, and solve your objective in real time, which means when your troops die, it's not turn-based. You don't have a chance to build your troops before the next person does anything. They're going to be doing stuff while you're building your troops. The CPU's fighting against you while you're, moving around. It's not step by step. So
correct.
It can get a little, these kind of games can take a little bit to really get down.
Yeah, they can be quite tactical. The first few missions, they don't attack you too heavy because you are learning the game still. But after like 3 or 4 missions, they can lay it on pretty heavy.
Yeah. Generally, RTS games I've played, the first like 2 or 3 missions are super easy, and then there's just like the one after that. Eventually you might cruise through the first few missions, and then you get to one that is just super difficult, and you have to pretty much like level up mentally and level up and just to learn how it all works in order to actually progress.
You have to adapt, and if you don't, you fail. So this is actually a great example. So right now I'm fighting orcs. In this particular instance, I'm attacking an orc base.
The boys' hut.
The boys' hut. This is actually where their units come from. They spawn their units here. So if I destroy this destroys their ability to create units in this spot.
Yeah.
So how this game works, generally speaking, obviously the campaign doesn't do... It gives you an example. It's not extremely clear, but this applies to every single aspect of this game. You have two different resource types. You have requisition and you have power. Requisition is your basic material you need to build structures, build units, etc., etc. Now, if you want to... And then your power is something you get by using generators, and that gives you things like upgrades. You spend your power on upgrades, such as heavy weapons upgrades, things like that. There we go. Yeah, dude, it's real buggy. I just need to get used to using the hotkeys here. Actually... So, it's not really an objective, because they didn't really have achievements this long ago. But...
In 2004, yeah.
But if you go through... well, they had achievements, just not for this game. So if you come through this level, you're going to find large pockets of guardsmen fighting orcs, and you can save them all and stop them from dying.
Oh, that's cool.
In a future mission, if you save a particular group of guardsmen from a powerful enemy, they actually become playable by you.
Well,
yeah, that's pretty great.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to make it.
So even though you just save these guys, you're not able to control them?
No, not this time. But here's the thing: if for some reason the orcs do decide to push, these guys will be an early warning, I guess.
Okay.
Or not even that. The orcs may even deter and fight them instead of coming at my base.
That's good.
Obviously,
some dudes to fight
old game, physics, they're shooting through the floor. Don't worry about it.
It's okay, right?
Yeah, it's an old game. Who cares?
Weird things about 40k. Orcs, in the Warhammer universe, orcs are not like your generic goblins or like dark elf kind of creatures.
They're fungus.
Fungus that are like, they're space fungus that are alive that like war. So...
Well, it's not that they like
confusing.
War. They're biologically
right?
They're biologically designed for war, and if they don't fight, they die.
So
war is necessary.
A lot of fighting.
War is necessary for an orc like food and water for you.
I like my food and water.
Yeah, it's necessary, man.
Yeah, they're definitely shooting through the floor.
Yeah, so these heavy bolters, by the way, that I'm equipping them with are overpowered.
Talking about the guns.
Oh yeah, those that.
So you can equip them with individual weapons.
So that building, gosh, man,
because some RTS, the way it worked is you would have
your armory.
You'd get like, here are your, your rifle troops. Here are your rocket troops. Here is that not how this works? Do you choose what weapons you want to give them?
Different factions play completely differently.
Okay.
So Space Marines specifically. Your Space Marine unit, your basic Space Marine squad, count as a heavy infantry unit.
Okay.
Most other factions, your basic squads like this are normal infantry.
Okay.
So Space Marines are kind of broken that way.
So like really if you were playing as normal Imperial Guardsmen, they would be just regular infantry.
Yeah.
Where Space Marines are heavy infantry.
Now the thing is, this also is the backbone of most of your army. These Space Marine squads... You get them at the beginning. They're also your late game.
Okay.
You can get more powerful units, but
you don't get... They're just that consistent?
Well, you don't get very many of them.
Okay.
So these guys are your backbone. That being said, that gets the next stat up here is your squad cap. So this tells you how many squads you can have at a time. So each Space Marine squad is worth 2. Then you have your builders, who also require squad cap to own, right?
Yeah.
So, when it comes for any RTS game, that is, if I wanted to build one more, once these guys are done, that is the most squads I can have. Period. I cannot have any more after that point, unless I upgrade my Fortress HQ to allow me to do so. So that's another thing. Whereas orcs, you build your wog banners, you get a whole bunch of those, and now you can have up to 100 squad cap with orcs. because their entire thing in the lore is they wog at you
Yeah.
and run you down. Hey, they saved themselves.
Huh. Yeah, so are you trying to get specifically to the other side of the map? Is that your objective?
So, down on the bottom left here, you'll see there's a red thing in the mini-map. That's showing me where my objectives are. So right now, this objective is, I gotta capture this particular area.
Okay.
Actually, there's people over here. So I'm gonna go liberate them real fast. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they could use your help, for sure.
Oh, yeah, they're outnumbered. Those heavy bolters kick in, though, and just shredding them. It's great.
Yeah, orcs start going down.
Yeah, so also it's the tutorial mission, so keep in mind, they're just using basic orc slugga boys here. Those are your standard Russian to melee, like, doofus units.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then eventually they are gonna get crazier.
Oh,
They're gonna
yeah.
get bigger guns and all that.
One. There we go. Have them attack around here. Alright. I have my commander just chilling at the base. I should have him with the boys.
The enemy must be nearby. By my command.
Alright, cool. Took that away from him.
This orc camp has been destroyed.
I actually do think,
Follow me into
legitimately, this level, you know how I said if you save people, you can unlock special things?
by my
Yeah.
command.
Check this out.
Attack.
Come on.
Oh, there's more guys over here. Oh.
There's an Imperial Guard tank being overrun.
Advance.
And here's the best part.
Got a lot of hell.
If you get it before they destroy it,
You have a tank now?
I do.
Dude, come on.
Go down here. Where's my builders? I'm gonna bind these guys to something. Where's my other builder? No. Oh, it's obscuring. Okay, there he is. We're gonna come up here and repair
That
that.
mini-map glitch is weird, man.
Yeah, it's annoying.
My faith is my shield.
So yeah, I honestly never use the tank. I don't need to use the tank. I think there's more guardsmen over here.
Shall not falter.
So, I like to completely clear the map. I absolutely don't have to, but I'm just showing you guys the stuff you can do.
Are the guardsmen the purple dots?
No, those purple dots are the strategic points that you want to capture.
Okay.
Oh look, so they're finally pushing back. Too bad there's a tank there shredding them.
Yeah, that's good that you got that. Boom.
There we go.
Saved all the guardsmen.
Ah, yeah. See? Save the
Yeah.
terrorist defense
Oh, wow.
force.
So that is like a
That's an
side
objective.
objective. Yeah.
Yeah. So generally speaking, the Blood
Ravens.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a Blood Angels chapter or Legion. The Blood Ravens are actually really nice dudes. Generally speaking, in the lore, they're pretty good people.
Are we in... This is the point of history, though, where it's chapters.
Yes. So this is
Okay.
after the Horus Heresy.
Okay.
Well after. That tech priest was fixing that.
If you're wondering what that is, there's a looting video on it.
No, dude.
That's kind of just the answer. If you hear him throw out some like historical term and you're like, what is that? There's probably some really cool, well-produced video by Luton on it.
Here's
So-
the thing also, I do read comments periodically on the videos. If you have a Warhammer question, I will do my
He
best
will-
to answer it.
Yeah, he checks the videos for comments.
This
so
guy's
if
gonna
you
die.
comment, he'll see it.
So
And
this this is one of
he'll
the
explain it to you.
big issues with this game because of how old it is. The AI pathing is not great, so sometimes your soldiers will just separate and then one will die because he refuses to shoot because his squad's not there. So it's an old bug. It's alright though.
Yeah. I mean, 2004 RTS.
Yeah. I mean, this is
This game locked so the other Warhammer games can run, right?
kind of, yeah. I mean, even then, like,
And even then, it still works pretty well. So
this is still a solid game.
yeah,
Oof, that
Yeah.
tank is powerful.
it was released on September 20th, 2004. Yeah, Warhammer started as a tabletop war game
Yeah.
made by Games Workshop.
yes,
And so
Games
it was
Workshop.
Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy, which Warhammer Fantasy is more magic and monsters, sword and board kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But they are different. The two of them are. And Games Workshop, it started as a tabletop, like army miniatures war game, and now there's all these books. I mean, your Audible library is just full of Warhammer books.
Oh, I could probably.
and,
I got like 60. I'm on the last couple of books of the Siege of Terra series. It's great.
Yeah, so he listens to a bunch of audiobooks, and they've got games, a lot of games. I mean, there's maybe like 20 on Steam or something, and it's a big thing now. It's not just some war games, so
Absolutely.
there's a lot of Warhammer stuff. And this kind of, I don't know if this was the first Warhammer game. I'm sure it wasn't, but it was.
I don't know if it was the first actual Warhammer game. I think Space Hulk might have been sooner.
Okay.
This is the first of the RTS series.
Okay, so this is the first RTS game. That makes sense.
I will say this. For all you Helldiver fans out there, Space Marines did it first with the drop pods.
You have something you wish to say.
About like ODST or literally any other sci-fi before that could have done the drop pods.
I just wanted to make the Helldivers community mad for some reason.
Why?
I don't know, man. I don't know. They take themselves way too seriously.
Oh. That is something the Warhammer community does not do.
What?
They don't take themselves too seriously.
Oh no, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you're painting miniature models of 8-foot tall, like barely human monstrous men
Yeah.
that are fighting space orcs that believe the color red makes things go faster. Like, you
Yeah.
can't be
Yeah.
serious. You have to have fun with it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I love orcs for that reason. By the way, they're dumb. Orcs are not only stupid fungus creatures, they also have superstitious beliefs that colors make things better. And if enough orcs believe it, it becomes true.
That science. That's orc science. It's weird.
It's a weird...
Isn't it like a supernatural power they have that they don't know? That
They don't
have?
even know they have it. It's just like this weird psychic web. If you have enough orcs in an area that all believe something strongly enough, their combined combined psychic web will make them believe something to be true.
That's cool.
Alright, we'll do one or two more missions, and I can show you guys a couple of the alternate game modes too.
Yeah. Oh, it got a little journal. Wow.
Yeah, so what he does, he gives you a mission debrief.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The bulk of their force is not engaged.
By the way, I love this
They
guy's
gather
voice.
in the wilderness,
It's good.
awaiting a critical
It's a good
mass
voice.
of bodies
That
will
deep
overwhelm
British
the Imperial
voice.
forces in a green wave of death and destruction. The Blood Ravens will not allow this to occur. Orbital monitoring has detected an area in the southern forests where the orcs appear to be massing. Orcs only respect strength, so they will look to the largest of their groups to lead them.
Yeah, I think I find it interesting.
Strike force to eliminate these
You know, you could say a lot about like orcs being not orcs. You can say a lot about like Klingons and Star Trek kind of being space orcs. If you're a normal fantasy fan, or like space dwarves even, or somewhere in the middle. But I feel like the orcs in Warhammer are like
The orcs
are
in-
like Klingons if they were funny.
Nah. Take British soccer hooligans, and you're getting closer. British soccer hooligans plus Mad Max Fury Road, and you're in the right ballpark.
Okay.
That's orcs.
Wow.
And then add a little like sauteed mushroom in there.
Because the fungus.
Yeah.
Star mission.
They show you the planet of Tartarus on the first mission. Now on this mission, you see where the enemies are. You see these big circles. That's where orc concentrations are, and then the symbols are where Blood Ravens and the Imperial Guard units are. These are the cities on the planet.
Okay. So you're still on the same planet.
Yes, pay attention to that map
You have your orders.
every time we.
And may the
Oh, it'll change, is what you're saying.
Yes,
Okay.
that map updates every mission,
Yeah.
and it'll show you the situation you're in.
I know, old friend. You always have preferred the direct approach. We have the Imperial Guard. Why not
The,
send them into battle instead of treating them
Lip
like
sync is
glorified
not
shepherds?
quite
If we meet the orcs in force,
lining up on these guys, but you know it is a computer game for 2004. So
You don't like it?
no, I'm just saying the
Oh,
the
the
words aren't lining up with the
Just
mouth.
think of it like an old Bruce Lee
Yeah.
movie. So, by the way, This dude is a librarian. That is a space marine who has psychic power, which basically lets him use magic.
Yeah.
He's a space wizard.
That's the version, kind of Warhammer's approach to magic. They take the earthbound approach of psychic power, right?
So how magic works in the 40k universe is kind of convoluted, but the simple version, there is an alternate dimension that runs parallel to our dimension called the warp. They use it for faster than light travel, and there are certain individuals who are born with a gene that makes them warp sensitive, which means they can draw power from the warp and use it to use special powers and abilities for themselves. That is what that space marine there is. He's a librarian.
Yeah.
And he is a very powerful librarian.
For you D&D fans, like, imagine if the weave was its own dimension. It's that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But inside that dimension, it's also a dimension comprised of emotions and thoughts.
Yeah.
So
things that happen in the real world affect
it. Yeah.
The warp.
So, for example, if there's like a massive, 10 planets all are in a civil war together, and there's just a massive amount of suffering and violence, that will actually cause a ripple in the warp that could cause a storm in real space.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
There we go. Good old big map. Big map, little box.
I'm going to wait for them to reinforce before I go in here.
This looks kind of cool. We're going
to fight them.
Kind of in
apparently.
I guess
sensitivity.
Maybe this isn't the swamp, but this is a kind of cool area looking so far.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a forested swamp area.
Yeah.
So these are scout marines, actually. This is an interesting bit of lore. So space marine scouts or initiates are actually, these are a midway point. These are space marines in training. These guys are working on becoming space marines, Nathaniel.
Okay.
And they're just called normal infantry.
Okay. So they're not heavy.
No. So these guys are basically the midway process. These guys have received half of their genetic enhancements and are actively training to become space marines.
That's cool.
Alright, so here I'm going to try and save these guardsmen.
Get shooting.
I don't know if I can because it's a single scout of squads.
Single
squad of scouts. Yeah.
I've been talking like you the all video anyway, so.
Yeah.
Single
we got
scout
this.
of squads there is.
Let's go! A bunch of regular humans. By the way, so in scale, I want to point out these orcs are probably 7.5 feet tall, and these dudes are regular 5'10" dudes. So you're seeing, for a scale reference, this would be an orc war boss. He is big. A regular space marine goes up to about there on this guy. Orcs are massive, muscle-bound brutes.
Yeah.
That is their entire thing.
Fun fact, I've never talked about this. I, a few years ago, tried to be a streamer. Didn't really go well. Or in the fact of, I had a consistent schedule. And I streamed on Twitch,
Did you actually?
I streamed on Twitch, 3 hours. It was
sniper rifles.
It was 3 to 4 times a week, 2 hours on those nights, and I did that consistently for about 4 or 5 months, and I think I maybe had 10 followers or whatever on Twitch. It never went anywhere, but I did it for 4 months, and I was really committed, and it didn't go anywhere. But something that we did towards the end of that, where normally I was just streaming we did a mini painting stream.
Did you actually?
You were there for that, remember? We painted minis.
You did that on Twitch?
On Twitch, yeah. Remember?
Oh, I didn't realize you were streaming that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was fun. But yes, we said Warhammer's a war game. This is Brandon's prized mini. He did not paint this. He has a good friend who
Is
or
way
someone
more
he knows
talented
who's
than
really good at painting minis.
I'd call him a good friend.
And yeah, this is a
That is Nate. Can you say his name?
Gazgul Rakshasa Gazgul Ram
Put some respect. It's Gazgul Mag
Urak
Thraka.
Yeah.
Prophet of Gork and Mork.
Yeah, which Gork and Mork are the orc gods, pretty much.
Yeah. It's wild, dude. It is wild.
But that's what a really cool Warhammer mini looks like, because, like we said,
Yeah.
it's a miniatures game, and so you buy a bunch of little minis, you paint them up, and you have your own armies. And there are some people that
Kill that knob.
learn the rules and buy the books and
Knob dead.
paint the minis, and really never get to actually play the war game with someone, which
You're
is
in
what
melee.
these RTS games are so. Why these are so valuable for Warhammer fans is because
They're basically the
actually-
tabletop game, yeah.
play the game. Yeah.
Yeah, for about 1/1000th of the price.
Yes.
Because they're
Because
expensive.
minis are expensive, and paint is expensive,
Very.
and primer is expensive, and actually, like, brushing and painting and having it look good is expensive in the fact that costs a lot of time. So,
Yeah. All right, so I want to point out
it's not
something
easy.
really cool in the lore, by the way. So
Oh,
you were
teach me,
talking
teach me.
the absurdity of weapons in this universe. Let's talk about the standard rifle these
Okay.
guys are holding.
Okay.
Nate, how powerful do you think that rifle is?
I don't know. Like, we're thinking standard rifle for us is probably, we
5.56 round.
we think M4s
AR-15,
kind
right?
of thing, right? So let's say those maybe are like, sure, let's say it's just is that like normal, human, like modern rifle strength, or is it like twice as strong?
If
or?
a normal human being tried to fire that rifle like they're doing, it would rip their arm out of their socket.
That sounds horrible. Okay, so those are the normal rifles.
So
They have genetic engineering, so they're able to shoot those.
they're able to.
Do normal guardsmen, or do they have different guns?
So the regular Imperial Guard las rifle, which by the way is a beautiful piece of art, by modern weapon standards, the normal everyday las rifle it never jams,
Okay.
fires condensed light beams that can punch holes through
Condensed light. So,
condensed light beams that can
So
punch
it's a laser gun.
that can punch holes through concrete.
It doesn't shoot.
Never jams.
It's not kinetic. It shoots lasers.
and has no recoil.
No recoil.
And
Not
it is-
kinetic. Shoots lasers.
As a joke,
That's cool.
commonly referred to as a flashlight.
Compared to these.
No, compared to everything.
Oh wow.
A gun that never jams, has no recoil.
Yeah. So that's just
never
part
have
of
you never have to reload.
the power scale of. So this is it's called Warhammer 40K. The fact that this is there's been 40. This is what 40,000 years.
This
in the
is
future?
the year 40,000.
Okay,
roughly.
40,000 AD.
Roughly.
So, this is the 41st millennia.
This is
41st.
38,000 years in our future.
Yeah.
So
Which this is not what our future will look like.
I really hope not. For all of our sake. No, so what their standard rifle for a Space Marine, if you were to equate it to a modern day rifle, this is a standard armament.
Okay.
Is the equivalent to a 75 caliber armor piercing explosive incendiary round. That fires
I understand about half of that.
60 rounds per second.
That's a lot. That's very fast. 60 per second?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that gun
Can't even.
fires
That in real life.
rocket
In real life would just
propelled
look
grenades.
like a continuous blast.
A
Like, you
gun
wouldn't-
like that could only be mounted on the back of a tank.
That's crazy.
The Orc Knob is dead. We will take it from here.
Hey, the fully initiated Space Marines show up.
There you go. Yeah, you got some more. Oh.
So
Autosave.
it's auto-saving. So
Shoot
much
through the floor.
lore accurate. I love how lore accurate this game is. By the way, they do a very, very good job of being correct lore. If you kill the war boss, they'll break more out, and the orcs will scatter, and not have a clear leader cohesiveness.
That's cool.
Hence
Yeah, that's
why
realistic.
these, it's great.
Leaders are important.
Well, orcs specifically, the biggest orc is generally just correct by brute force. I love
Yeah.
it. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Orc hierarchy is great because I'm big, therefore I'm correct. And all the other orcs go, okay. Yeah, no. Gabriel Angelos, by the way, is an absolute legend, and he is among.
He's got a sword. I like swords.
He is among some of my favorite characters, Space Marine wise, when it comes to Warhammer, because he reminds me a lot of another guy. Like his name is Nathaniel Garrow.
I was gonna say your favorite. Who's your favorite Space Marine? It's Nathaniel Garrow, right?
Either Nathaniel Garrow or Garbiel Loken, which are both Horse Heresy.
If you're wondering who those guys are, I'm sure Luton's got a video on it.
Yeah, or I'll explain it to you if you ask in the comments.
Yes.
Taggart, if you're watching, I'll explain it.
Or Brandon will link you a Luton video, or I will.
We'll do both. And then you guys can
I'm not going to explain it. I don't.
No. You'll link
You'll
the
explain
Luton
it.
video.
I'll send the video.
And I'll
Great.
explain it. Yeah.
Brandon introduced me to Warhammer a few years ago, and we always talk about it. He always tells me about the book he's reading and that kind of thing. And I think a lot of it's super cool. It's just very interesting,
Super grim,
very creative. Yeah, super serious. You know, it's not like, you know, there's certain movies you wouldn't watch before bed. Like I love Batman, but I'm not gonna watch The Dark Knight before bed.
Really?
Not because like it's too serious, but just like
you don't need.
Well, yeah, no, just because it is a serious movie, and it's kind of hard to go to bed after watching that. Like, okay, cool, time to just go to sleep.
My game is bugging right
so
now. Okay.
This is kind of an example. Like Warhammer is awesome, but it does get real serious.
It's
like
real
maybe wait for a good sunny day to listen to 3 Luton videos while you clean out your shower or whatever.
It's not for the weak-hearted, bro. What the heck are you doing? I told you to. If you weren't bugging out and functioning correctly, come on, man. There we go. Yeah, builders are malfunctioning. It's okay. That's why they're servitors. I'm not explaining what a servitor is. Look it up for yourself.
I'm sure there's a Luton video. Actually, there's probably not. I don't know if you would have a video on the specific types of builders from Dawn of War.
They're not from Dawn of War. Servitors are actually a wider thing in lore.
Okay.
There's 2 kinds of servitors. There's voluntary servitors.
He's explaining it. We'll see what I did.
And then there's capital punishment servitors.
Okay. Oh.
Servitors are a broad term for
Are they just an imperial thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Fortunately. Servitors are a broader term for any menial servant that is not of their own mind fully.
Oh, okay.
So the Imperium in the far future
put to
are
work or whatever.
extremely terrified of AI. Extremely terrified of AI.
Because they basically had an AI apocalypse.
Well, that's what caused the Dark Age that the Emperor had to.
That's the thing is, the 40K is a post-apocalyptic world, so they had AI boom.
They've had multiple apocalypses. That's the crazy part.
And humanity was basically brought back to, you know, the Dark Ages, but with guns and stuff. And so it was just all this tech and just war and clan bosses and tribes and all this crazy stuff. And one guy united it. He's the Emperor of Man. That's who he's known as. He's the guy who, he's like, nobody knows his origin, but he's, you know, an immortal guy who is very powerful, and he united all of humanity. And in the process, like, there came a point years and years later where he died, and well, he's not necessarily dead as much as he's like,
he is eternally in a half-dead, half-living state on a life support device that he never wanted to be on.
Yeah, so it's pretty grimdark.
It is super irony.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's a crazy story and all that. But the point is that humanity is like, it's in a weird place.
Humanity is also like this horrifically like stunted, terrible dystopian future. Where
that's Warhammer in general, though. It's pretty dystopian.
The Imperium specifically, I want to make something very clear. People who think the Imperium are the good guys, they are not the good guys.
I don't know if there is a good guy.
There isn't, and that's kind of the point.
But that's the thing, is we're like, oh, we're, you know, if you're,
Yeah.
I'd have to say my favorite faction in Warhammer is the
Yeah.
Imperium. Why? Because I'm a human, and
Yeah.
usually when I'm, if you want to ask who my favorite Halo faction is, it's the humans. The difference is in Halo, the humans pretty much are the good guys, but
yeah.
in the case of this, it's like
No.
there's the bad ones, and then there's just all the middle of the road ones, and humans are some of those, and there's just it's just there's all these crazy stories, and there's all this gray, and all these heroes, and all these villains, and corruption, and there's a lot of really cool books. I'm sure if you're kind of interested in Warhammer and want to get into some of the books, Brandon could give you some good suggestions.
There are,
because the problem I found with some of the books is some of them don't feel very. The thing about Warhammer is there's so much lore and so much story that it's hard to get into, and so it's hard to get into the games and the stuff and actually understand what everything is that they're talking about. So
they never make a point of explaining it.
If you like audiobooks and are kind of interested in this sci-fi dark fantasy, then Brandon can probably recommend you one that is pretty beginner friendly. I know you even told me about one.
There are 3 I can think of off the top of my head. The first one, if you want to begin a series that is conclusive, you don't need a lot of lore background, and as you go through the series, you learn all the lore you possibly need, I would recommend going with the Horus Heresy series. Start on book 1.
There's a lot of books, guys.
It is a good starting point. There's 50 books in the series. So as the series progresses, you will learn everything you need to know.
That's a lot of books. Or you can just watch the Luton video on it.
Yeah, but you don't get all the great details. Like Sanguinius.
You get some pretty good ones, though.
You don't get the great detail like when Sanguinius gives an amazing speech to his Space Marines in a last stand, and then proceeds to fly off and decapitate a Titan.
Yes, he told me that story the other day. Told me that today, actually.
It's
That's
super
an interesting
cool.
Story.
It's super cool.
Yeah, because you read that the other night, right?
I heard it.
Heard it
today.
In audiobooks. Oh, okay.
In the audio form. What are they
Little
shooting at? Oh.
Audiobooks.
Guys, stop advancing forward. What are you doing? Let the captain do that. He's literally a melee monster. Heavy bolters are getting caught up trying to shoot stuff they don't need to be shooting. That's fine though. I'm gonna let them shred.
So are you're buying them those guns right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. The scouts need to not be in melee combat, and this is killing me.
Because they're not.
I need the captain to... Oh, he died. That's
He'll
not
come
good.
back. He returned already. You can get him back.
Yeah.
This day shall be a glorious one for the Imperium.
Cool. Are these guys done shooting random stuff?
Taking his
They are.
walk. Yeah, so he's now, if you notice, controlling things on multiple fronts. And that's just an example of the level of, for lack of a better term, not complication, but complexity that RTS games have. You start as kind of one force trying to do your thing, and next thing you know, you're fighting a battle on 2 fronts, and
This
you're
is
trying
kind
to
of
form defense.
self-imposed, honestly. I'm not being smart about it. Cool.
Get your bolters.
And I got a squad sergeant now.
Yeah. He could also split his, Space Marine groups in half if he wanted, and all that. Yeah, you have a lot of options.
Yeah, so right now my objectives are I gotta destroy the 3 big bases, and they're not gonna stop coming until I do. So the thing there is, you gotta toggle between upgrading, working on your base, and building things, and progressing your troops forward in a meaningful way. So like right there, I knew there was a squad up there I could get for free without spending resources, and they're defending another free point. I figured my captain wouldn't die defending this, but also I upped the difficulty from what I had it on. I did that. That was a mistake. I'm going to attach him to a squad, actually. So now this squad will be reinforced with my captain as their leader. So he won't be in melee as much.
Yeah.
but he keeps their morale from going down, and if they get into melee, basically they become really powerful.
That's good.
Also, heavy bolters. All those they take a second to charge up.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy.
Heavy bolters are broken, dude. Yeah, basically I'm just gonna wipe out this camp so they stop coming across and attacking my base.
You know, I was just actually gonna say,
doing that.
I find it so surprising that Warhammer and all its popularity hasn't had like a show yet. And then I realized, like, hasn't Amazon like given Henry Cavill the reins to make a Warhammer show?
I think they're going through some like drama stuff right now. I think someone made Henry Cavill upset, like a producer or something. But honestly,
it'll probably end up being pretty good because he's a big fan.
It's Henry Cavill, dude.
Yeah,
like
he's a big fan. So big fan, good actor.
I am in full agreement with Scott here.
Scott,
that's a man crush.
Is a Henry Cavill fan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my man crushes. So, actually, I can have more squad cap.
Yeah, there's gonna be a Warhammer show. Do we know if it's gonna be live action or not?
Live action or not? I don't know. I think it's gonna be animated. It would have to be, right?
Well,
they do have
now it depends on the budget. If you get a really big budget, you could do a cool live action show.
They do have a Warhammer kind of show. It's more like a mini series. It's called Hammer and Bolter.
Because here's the deal, I would want a Warhammer show to be live action simply because of that grounded feel that live action brings.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you could do justice to something such as the size of a Space Marine in live action.
Well, they did it with Fallout.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, they did the power armor in Fallout super well.
That's cool.
Yeah. It made me happy.
I mean, I think you could build a Space Marine suit and put dudes in it. But I'm just saying, if you want to have a super huge budget, you're gonna... If you want to have, like, Space Marine firefights, you're gonna have to have a super huge budget and make a lot of CGI stuff. And you have to not rush it in order for it to actually look good. So, they maybe need to go animated. I assume if they're going animated, it's not gonna be, you know, like, drawn. It's probably gonna be 3D models and stuff like that, so...
Yeah, that has always been
probably decently realistic.
One of the big things about doing a Warhammer show for a very long time has been that it's extremely difficult to capture the scale.
Yeah.
One point of medium that does it really well is Hammer and Bolter, which is a Games Workshop created thing. And
meaning it's an official miniseries.
It's an official miniseries. But it's just a series of like short stories. So there's one, I think it was called Cadia Stands. And it takes place after an event called the Fall of Cadia.
That's a planet.
Yeah, it was not just a planet, it was the bastion planet of the Imperium that protects them from the rip in space that leads to the warp.
Think Fall of Reach. Like, it's that big of a deal.
It was...
For you Halo fans. I like Halo.
It was the most, besides the human homeworld itself of Terra, which is Earth.
It was the most important place.
It was the most defended place in the galaxy. And what happened was there was a guy named Abaddon the Despoiler. He was the first captain of the arch-traitor Primarch Horus Lupercal. And, yeah, no, they're capturing a point.
Okay, they're capturing a point. I was like, what's happening?
The arch-traitor Horus Lupercal. And basically, he went and led 13 Black Crusades, is what they were called. And these Black Crusades took out different key points that had, like, hidden objectives no one knew about.
It is devastating in close quarters fighting, and its armored hide will
and in the process, eventually...
Yeah, in his 13th Black Crusade, he assaulted the world of Cadia. Oh. Alright, this thing needs to die. I need those rocket launchers to do some work here.
Oh, that's a lot of bullets, man.
Look at his health bar not going down.
It's not. Okay, the rockets do damage.
That's why I built rocket squads.
Yeah.
These are the guardsmen you can save. Which... Here's a hack you can do. If you want to max out your squad cap, you save these guys, and then they add to your squad. I might have built those units too late. I can just let them. Oh no, I get them. I get them now. Alright, and you just got one of the most powerful early game squads you can get.
Wow.
In the form of guardsmen.
That's cool.
Okay. So, yeah, that's my army now on the bottom. This huge wave of dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give these guys plasma rifles.
And yes, I'm sure there's a looting video on the Fall Acadia.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the Fall of Acadia was such an enormous battle, and 99.9% of the defenders of the planet of Cadia were regular human guardsmen, which is the craziest part, and they held off tens of thousands of Chaos Space Marines single-handedly.
Chaos is something that happened in the warp. So we talked about the warp being this like magic other realm that is so connected with the real world that things that happen in it affect it. So eventually all these evil things happened, these like really emotional things that eventually made these, for lack of a better term, evil gods called Chaos.
They're not actually gods, but they call themselves that because of how just powerful they are.
Yeah, they're just really powerful dark entities, right? That are able to give, well, that like how they corrupt other people in the real world and make them do their bidding and stuff.
Yep.
So that's what he's saying is a Chaos Space Marine. Eventually, there's this whole thing of the Horus Heresy, which he was talking about.
What
happened is
the Emperor had 20 Space Marine legions.
Yeah, these different
18 Space Marine legions. We don't talk about 2 of them. They didn't happen.
There's all these other 18 legions, right, of Space Marines, you know, which aren't the guardsmen. They're the big boys, right? So you have 18 of all these big boys, and
What are you?
and they were all led by these leaders called Primarchs, and eventually some of them got, you know, taken control of by Chaos, and you kind of had this civil war-ish kind of thing that went on in the middle of the Imperium, and that's how Acadia fell. That's what the Horus Heresy is. This one leader named Horus kind of started turncoating, and it was pretty bad, but
It was
cool,
a complex
cool,
thing.
interesting, like Shakespeare-esque poetry kind of stories. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
very wild.
But yeah, so the half of the Space Marines went traitor. Each legion had roughly 100,000 Space Marines, and in the context of combat, 1 Space Marine is said to be able to take on 2 platoons of humans,
Of guardsmen.
which is like
Yeah,
a lot of dudes.
that's a lot of dudes.
And so you have 100,000 of those.
That's
per
why.
legion.
That's when I say like 10 times a Halo Spartan. Like that's pretty accurate. We actually had the conversation once of could Master Chief beat a Space Marine, and I just finished reading the Fall of Reach book, and had done a ton of like research online on the statistics of like, well, how fast can Master Chief actually run, and the fact of like the Millennium armor that he wears, his Spartan armor is actually 1,000 pounds, and so he's throwing around an 1,000-pound set of armor all the time, and like all this stuff. He's genetically enhanced, you know, got crazy reflexes, great eyesight, got all these guns, got the one like lore-wise. If you read the Halo books,
He's insane.
there's even stuff where Cortana says like the one thing, you know, Chief has that no other Spartan has is luck. So that's the thing, is he finds ways to get things done. And
Master Chief is a legend.
but Space Marines are just crazy, dude. They're not even.
They're absurd.
They're basically not even
absurd
like
sake.
men anymore. They're these huge genetically enhanced cyborgs.
Really quick, Google how many augmented organs Space Marines have.
Okay.
Now, when I say augmented organs, these are surgical implants the Space Marines get, and they give them different purposes. You could actually read off what they do. You might find it interesting. They're crazy.
The Primaris Space Marines possess.
Okay, hold up. So there's 2 different kinds of Space Marines.
Okay.
There's the old Space Marines, and there's the new Space Marines. The new Space Marines are Primaris, and they're the updated version.
Okay.
They have more organs than regular
the
Space
original Firstborn Space Marines have 19.
19.
Primaris Space Marines have 3 more with 22.
Yep. Alright.
They have 2 hearts. That's weird.
It's to increase blood flow.
You need it if you're some.
If you're a 9-foot tall jacked monster,
Yeah. I wonder how big Goliath's heart was. Do you think Goliath had 2 hearts? He was what, 9? He was 9'9".
I don't know, dude.
9'9".
He probably had poor circulation.
Giant.
He probably had the
Huge
same
swords,
issue
lots of armor.
Andre the Giant had.
Poor circulation. Yeah.
I don't know if Andre the Giant had poor circulation, but gigantism actually like is really, really bad. It is physically detrimental to your body.
He wasn't. He didn't have gigantism though. But we don't need to get into that.
No, I realize, but
yeah.
it's rough on.
It's hard to be tall. Yeah. That's you hear of 7-foot tall basketball players in their 40s, 50s just
falling
have
apart.
horrible knee pain, right? And
Yeah,
hard to walk, hard to
apart.
live, all that kind of thing. Yeah.
By the way, there's no reason I needed
Dude,
all
there's
of this.
so many bullets.
Oh yeah, it's great.
There's so much going on here.
Oh, absolutely. That's why, like, this is one of those games, like, I can do the gameplay, and you guys can see what's going on, but also we're just chilling and talking.
Yeah.
Let's just do this. But yeah, there's, like, so many organs, and each organ does something different. Dude, they don't stop coming. And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming. Sorry.
Hey now.
Hey now. Alright, we have eliminated the orcs' camps. There we go, mission number 2.
Yeah, so that's the second mission. This is it. This is the
This
close.
is the mission, yeah.
Wow.
We're working on it now.
We are united in his service.
Yeah.
There we go. Cutscene.
They start setting up the end of the game now.
I like these. I love these early 2000s computer graphics. They just give me wild vibes. I just really like how early 2000s like games like this look. I just think it's cool.
It's super good.
It's very stylized.
Dude, that's crazy.
Nowadays we think of it as very stylized, but
2 missions and we're an hour in already.
yeah. So it's about 30 minutes a mission. Is he about to get stabbed?
No. Listen.
Is he invisible?
No. Yeah.
Oh, it's
He's an astral projection.
Trespass.
So
Okay.
that is a Chaos Space Marine sorcerer.
that's talking to him.
He's trying to whisper in his mind and corrupt him.
Oh man.
And so that is a real threat that
Because in the second game, don't you fight some Chaos Space Marines?
Oh yeah, the Blood Ravens, lore-wise, are crazy. No other Space Marine chapter has fought every single enemy of mankind simultaneously in Warfronts like they have.
That's crazy.
In the Dark Crusade game, you're fighting Necrons, Chaos, Orcs, Tau, Eldar.
Which he just named a lot of races. Luton's got a video on that.
On all of
It's
them.
actually, if I remember it being a pretty good one. Most of his videos that I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like he explains all the different races. Eldar are basically
Space elves.
like Vulcans, like Vulcan space elf type of characters. Very techie. But that's just a lot of Warhammer.
Their technology is super weird because their technology isn't normal technology the way you think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Their technology, their entire race, every single member of their race is psychically powerful in the warp.
Yeah.
And so, like, the way they construct buildings is from a substance called wraithbone, and they have special people who sing in the language of the warp and create wraithbone structures from the warp itself.
Wow.
So they can sing and will structures into being.
Cool.
It's super crazy.
That'd be handy.
During the apex
I
of
want
the,
that house to exist, and it does.
During the apex of the Eldar Empire,
Yeah.
they could literally sing anything into existence to the point where their lives became so easy that they caused their own downfall through basically just they ran out of stuff to do,
Yeah. Crazy.
and so they brought themselves down.
All right, level 3. Here we go.
I could, yeah.
Start mission. You got fast ram.
So notice, well,
So
notice,
now we're on the
now
second
map
city.
updates.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but now look at the red.
There's
We're-
more orcs.
We're fighting. Orcs like to fight.
Yeah.
Now they're coming at us.
Okay. That's crazy to think about that. Normally you would think the longer a fight goes on,
The weaker an
the
enemy
weaker
gets.
an enemy would get, but especially if you're winning. But in this case, it's the enemies realizing, oh, they're gonna fight us. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah.
We's got a good fight over there.
That's like, you ever watch Star Trek, you see those Klingons go, today's a good day to die. They realize, like, this is an honorable battle, and they charge in.
They don't do a very good job of reflecting it here. 99% of the time, Space Marines do not use tactical squads this heavily. They do not use ranged units like this in the lore. In fact, there is a chapter called the Black Templars, and they are famous for chaining melee weapons to their armor so that they cannot lose their weapon. So their weapon is ritually chained to their armor so they can't lose it. And they charge into melee fight. No, Black Templars are Imperial.
Well, I said Blades of Chaos. It was a God of War reference. He's
Yeah,
got
and-
these swords chained to him that he can't get rid of, even though he wants to.
And if they lose their weapon in battle, they are shamed and are forced to go on like a penitent crusade.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This story's kind of interesting.
Yes, my lord.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a siege, I guess.
This course of action.
Well, they're telling they tell great narratives through it.
Yeah.
We should attack. Surely it is better than doing nothing.
You would have us meet the orcs on open ground? That would be madness. It is written in the Codex Astartes that this situation calls for a defensive action. Of course.
So the Codex Astartes is an interesting thing.
Patience is the better virtue here.
So now we're already seeing, is his mind getting twisted? Why did he suggest something against the book, right?
A very common thing is chaos is extremely subtle. And that's something people forget often, is how subtle chaos is.
He was about to pong-crowd those guys. He was gonna go, let's just march out there and all die, right? So
100%.
now it's a little, that's just a little interesting that we're already starting to see that. Because I didn't know that was a Chaos guy, but you knew that was a Chaos guy. And now you've beat this game before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Dude, I put way too much time into this game.
This is the Game of the Year edition. Yeah, this is, like we said, Warhammer 40k Dawn of War. Military science fiction real-time strategy video game developed by Relic Entertainment.
So,
Released in 2004. But it's got a lot of
for scale,
sequels.
regular human, Space Marine.
Wow. Yeah, they're about a third of the size.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Half the size, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space Marines are huge.
There's a lot of, I just mean overall mass, though, not height, but just even width and breadth and depth. And
Oof, this is going to be a pain. If I want to select my base, I have to scroll because it's off the mini-map.
that's how it's been, Bren.
Well, not on every
Has your
level.
base not been that far? Okay. Yeah, but
Yeah, baby, the librarian and
this
the captain.
game, 3 expansion packs were 3, like, for lack of a better term, DLC or additional, like, spin-off continuation games were released. Winter Assault, Dark Crusade, and one called Soul Storm. What's your favorite Dark Crusade? Is that your favorite Warhammer game? Dawn of War, Dark Crusade, your favorite expansion plot or whatever?
That's tough.
Side story.
Dark Crusade is really cool because it's not a 3x RTS, but it's a 2x RTS, I would call it, because you have a risk map, and every level is one of these, and you go and you build your base, you fight the enemy off.
But it's a whole map you're dealing with,
And then
instead of just a linear plot.
And well, there is a plot, and you can play as any faction. You don't have to
Do
play
they all have
Space
a different
Marines.
story?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So it's just bigger scale.
It's a lot more to it.
That's cool.
Soulstorm is the same. I don't like it, though, because you lose your progress in between levels.
Oh,
So, what
that's
I've
weird.
done here is a classic blunder. I've messed up my economy.
Do you have too many groups or what?
I just spent too much resources right in the beginning.
You went too fast. Okay.
I went too fast, yeah.
Too much too fast.
So what I'm doing here is I have to hold these points and defend my base. So I have...
Because it's defense.
The guardsmen up top with their launchers.
Are you going to march out at all, or are you just in pure
yeah.
defense mode? Okay.
Oh, no, I'm marching out, bro. That's what these guys are here for.
Yeah. What about Winter Assault?
Huh? Winter Assault
is that linear like this?
Kind of. So Winter Assault has 2 separate campaigns, which is super cool. I'm going to have my captain.
You didn't have enough money to do whatever you were just trying to do?
Yeah. No, I need to wait until I have money. I need to build a strategic point here. Or a listening post is what it's called. So you build your listening post on top of the strategic point, which makes it stronger and be able to not be just captured immediately. Yeah. And then also you can upgrade these to have guns on them so they'll defend themselves. So like, yeah. By the way, orcs are brutal. They are absolute
strong,
monsters, dude.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Strong dudes.
I can't click off.
A sequel to this game came out in 2009. I've played that. That's the only Warhammer game I've played besides I think when Dark Tide came out. I think someone bought that for me, and I tried to play a little bit of it, but my PC just couldn't run it. So
no, it's intensive, dude.
Yeah, brutal. But which that game is like 4 player like co-op.
It's like Vermintide.
Survival adventure.
It's Vermintide with Warhammer, like 40K.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's a good time.
Yeah, that is sequel Dawn of War 2. We played that. Some of that. You bought that for me. Thank you. That was, I don't know, that was, 4 years ago. You bought that for me. And 4 or 3 years ago, and we played first few levels of that. And it was pretty fun. I had my RTS experience is pretty much tied down in, like, Empire at War.
Yeah.
Which is Star Wars kind of thing like this, Empire at War. And I don't know if you're going to count necessarily like Age of Empires as RTS, but I've spent a lot of time with that too.
Age of Empires is kind of...
Or not a lot, but I've spent a fair amount of time with Age of Empires and games of that same style. So I kind of struggled to pick up some of the specific mechanics that the Dawn of War games have, but I don't think I played a tutorial. I don't know if there was one, but I think I just jumped right in anyway. So, because I assumed you to, I asked you to just explain everything to me, and you did. It just took a while.
I'm notoriously not a great explainer for stuff like that.
I think I was just having some technical issues on my end, so I don't think you did a bad job, if I remember correctly.
Far better at explaining things like lore and just like general. Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't played it, obviously, because I said Dawn of War 2 was the only one I played, but the Dawn of War 3 came out in 2017, which that's crazy. That's 8 years after. So the first game comes out, Dawn of War. A year later, you get Winter Assault. A year after that, you get Dark Crusade. 2 years after that, you get Soulstorm. 1 year after that, you get Dawn of War 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then 8 years later, you get Dawn of War 3. Dawn of War 2 is good, right?
Dawn of War 2, I love.
Dawn of War 3, you don't like?
They messed up they made the hero system a little weird, and I think it was a little clunky.
The game.
Yeah. Not
necessarily like the story or whatever.
I never
did
finished
you play the whole
story.
game?
I never finished it because I just couldn't get through it. For me.
It was just some design choices you didn't like.
I don't know why. I just couldn't vibe with it, you know.
The machine cult is still intact. We must get a servitor to finish its construction.
Oh yeah. Hey, Dreadnought. Let me explain the lore behind Dreadnoughts, Nathaniel.
Do it, dude.
It is grim, but it is so cool.
Isn't that just Warhammer?
So
grim, but so cool.
How Dreadnoughts work, when a Space Marine... By the way, there is a common phrase in Warhammer. Only in death does duty end. I'll let that sink in for a second.
Well, yeah, it's called Warhammer. So.
Well, it's a common phrase. And what that phrase means is that when a Space Marine is mortally wounded beyond what a normal, even superhuman Space Marine should be able to handle, if they are able to, they will put them inside a sarcophagus, a left support sarcophagus, with their how they are, which will keep them alive.
Okay.
And they will inter them in a dreadnought carapace, which is that giant walking unit. That is a space marine who has been mortally wounded.
Their brain still works, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so...
Didn't that happen with some... I might be thinking of... Oh, I'm thinking of Halo. Never mind. In Halo, with the first Spartan program, after they went through the whole, like, genetic engineering, there were some of them that there was, like, one that maybe died, but he didn't survive it. But then there were a bunch of others that...
One?
Yeah, I think they had good odds or whatever. But there were a few others who basically, their bodies, like, completely rejected it. So they became, like... They were put in kind of whatever kind of stasis or life support or something, and they kind of just became the brains of the UNSC.
Oh.
And they utilized their brains for all that. It was very cool. They became like think tank developer kind of military strategists. But is there anything like that with Warhammer where like the Space Marines their like mind is used for development, or is it just like let's keep them fighting?
The dreadnoughts, on top of being unparalleled, like paragons of war,
they're big boys, man.
Will also generally be like a moral guide, like a big brother figure to the Legion.
Oh, okay.
And so they're treated with very, very high levels of respect and honor amongst other Space Marines.
I like that.
And they're looked to with great honor and respect. Yeah, no. There is one in the Space Wolves chapter / Legion. His name is Bjorn the Fell-Handed. He has been in service for 10,000 years in a dreadnought carapace.
That's pretty old.
The only problem you run into with the dreadnought carapaces is eventually the Space Marines can go crazy.
Oh,
they lose their minds. There is one that was my personal favorite. During the Horus Heresy, he was already ancient, but his name was Rylanor, and he was part of the Emperor's Children. His entire Legion and Primarch went traitor against the Emperor, but he did not. And so he stayed with the Loyalists during what was called the Isstvan atrocity, where they took the Loyalist elements of all the traitor legions and eliminated them by dropping them on a planet and virus bombing them.
Well,
most of those Loyalists survived the virus bombing because they got word ahead of time that the treachery was coming. So it turned into a protracted 6-month war, Loyalist versus traitor, and it was a super epic event. These Loyalists had no Primarchs on their team and still held for like 6 months against multiple traitor legions with their Primarchs.
Guy. Yeah.
Well, no, not just that guy, but Rylanor was one of the ones who fought and survived. And when the world was destroyed, by the way, he punched a building and destroyed it.
Yeah, they're just hitting that. You have room for more troops, by the way.
I do.
5 more.
Right now, I'm trying to capture all these points. But Rylanor survived after.
Are they gonna march on you?
They're trying, but I'm wiping
just
them
pushing
out.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So, when the Loyalists were finally beaten, Horus was like, "All right, now we're gonna glass the planet to make sure." And Rylanor survived that.
He survived that too. Wow.
And stayed in the rubble for thousands of years. He was stuck under the rubble, unable to move or do anything.
Wow.
But what he did is he found an old virus bomb that never detonated, sitting underground. And so he managed to rig it so that he could set it off. And then he set a beacon out there to draw in his traitor Primarch. And he did. His traitor Primarch showed up to figure out what this beacon was, because it was an old...
Yeah, and he blew him up.
Well, so he has this showdown with his Primarch. A Space Marine in Dreadnought armor has this dramatic 1v1 against his Primarch, who's mocking him, laughing at him, and just terrible. And Rylanor sets off this virus bomb, killing himself, mortally wounding his Primarch, who survived because he had been Chaos Ascended at this point.
Wow.
And it was just insanity. But it was one of the most like, dude, Rylanor is a G.
That's crazy.
He is such a cool freaking character.
You just keep getting like ability to build more troops. I mean, at this rate, you're just gonna do what you did last time, and there's just gonna be so many of you, and
Yeah.
just gonna blow them all up. Yeah. So if what I'm reading here is correct, a lot of stuff in this game actually does set the stage for the sequel.
100%.
So that's cool. So it's one continuous.
Oh, it's one big continuous story. A lot of the story follows the chapter master Gabriel Angelos. The heck? Oh, this guy's like straight up destroying my turrets at distance.
So let's talk a bit about Warhammer games in general. There are a lot on Steam, and listen, they're not that much. They're not very expensive, but
and they go on sale for like 80% off.
Steam sales. Every time there's a Steam sale, you can get all of them for like $3 each. So they go on pretty big.
They're great.
Sales. Yeah, next time I might actually try picking up this game. I love these kind of games. I honestly just never played them, so I haven't played an RTS unless you count. Solaris isn't really an RTS, but that's a real-time whatever kind of game. But it's not necessarily as active as this. But I do love these kind of games. So
they're good games.
This would be fun. But Warhammer isn't just RTS games. If I'm correct, Warhammer Space Marine is like a third-person shooter.
Oh, it's
where you're playing as a
great.
Space Marine and you're getting to go and shoot and stuff. If you like Fire Emblem or XCOM, I don't know how many of these they have, but there is a turn-based strategy game called Mechanicus. I don't know if there are more in that genre.
It's like XCOM.
It's XCOM Fire Emblem-ish. So you have your troops and your board and you're marching out and fighting and that kind of thing. It's a lot lower scale than this. A lot. For me, I probably have like an easier time playing some of those games. But those are cool.
Yeah. So this is what I meant earlier by the AI pathing. These guys, because the game can't path them correctly, decides some of the squad is going to
go the complete other way. Yeah.
Yeah, so these guys break.
Wow.
It happens. It's an old game, like I said. So what I need to do is let them all group up here and then resend them out.
I'm sure the AI pathing in Dawn of War 3 is much better, but you don't like that game. So I feel like you need to play it now.
I mean, I will. Play it. I will eventually. I own it.
Yeah.
The guardsmen, I'm sending them out.
What is the general opinion on that? The general fan
Dawn of War 3?
Is it kind of the same as yours? We're like, why did they change this? Or why did they do this?
It wasn't well received. They messed up the hero system, I think. I think they maybe laid too heavily into the hero system.
Can you explain specifically what the hero system is?
So, like in this, right, you have your captain, who's
force commander.
He's a really powerful individual unit, but he by himself will not win you a match.
Yeah,
right?
You have to have troops. You have to have strategy.
Right. He can go through. My commander could kill these 3 buildings and maybe live. But in Dawn of War 3, it's like you are reliant on your commanders to push ground and do things.
Oh, that's interesting.
Your commanders are like
or
super powerful.
Or do you still just have like the one main, or do you have many?
I think you can get multiple.
That's kind of. I feel like that could be kind of fun though, because then you have a commander with the different troops.
Yeah,
and
but
now
then, like,
that's how you. I mean, it's just another layer.
The base building was kind of clunky, and it just didn't flow well.
The problem with that could be is if you have to have your commander to push ground. If your commander is equally able to push ground, and now you have both, then that could be kind of cool. But if you only have one commander and have all these guys on the other side of the map that also need to do something, then that could be.
It could also come down to my playstyle. Like, my playstyle just doesn't match well very often with stuff like that. And I realize that's probably me being prissy.
I don't necessarily know what your playstyle is, but you're kicking butt. So, whatever you're doing is working.
I really like to do the whole max out your squad cap and then attack, move across the map, kill everything. I really like doing that. It's fun. Or doing this.
It'd probably be kind of interesting to see this from the defense perspective, though.
From their side?
No, but of you waiting. That'd be kind of interesting.
I think eventually you have
Playing
to
it like a tower defense game.
It gets
Yeah, you
hectic
probably
really
have
quick.
to push eventually.
Well, if you don't push, you will get overwhelmed. That is the thing. You will be overwhelmed. It will happen.
You don't want to be on your back foot.
No. Well, because you can just like super like here. You can go to objectives. Retake the city is a primary objective. Capture strategic points. Which strategic point? I don't know. Probably these 6. I'm not doing it. I don't care. That's the secondary. But yeah, no. Basically, if you never come in and push all this, they just build this massive fortress here, and then they just send wave after wave after wave.
Oh, and
just-
eventually you're gonna have to fight back.
Yeah,
because
you
you'll
just
be
get-
there forever.
You'll get overwhelmed.
Yeah,
Which lore accurate. That's what orcs do.
that's what they do. They just there's
They just
how are there
keep
more of
coming.
them?
Yeah, they just keep coming. After this one, I'll show you what a skirmish looks like, and it's the purest form of the game. It's
Yeah.
the competitive side of the game, and
Skirmish
what people...
multiplayer kind of online. Are you gonna try to do an online
Am I? Are they
fight
gonna-
or
No.
no?
No. So I can lose to a sweaty tryhard who's been playing this game for 20 years.
Hey, it'd be quick.
That it would. That it would, my
Yeah.
friend.
That's
I
kinda
don't.
interesting though.
Do I have to retake?
So does this? I know StarCraft and Warcraft, those kind of RTS, they had competitive scenes for a while. Competitive esports scene. Has Dawn of War ever had
I
an
actually
esports scene? Or
don't know. I've never looked into it.
now's a good time to find out.
Yeah, let's find out, man. I'm curious. If they do, it's probably quite small.
Yes, I'm sure it would be. Dawn of War esports. I see something from 2005.
Oh, dang.
Dawn of War 1v1 tournament, Global Gaming League, spring 2005. That's the first thing that showed up. I see one that's an ESL Cup from 2017, Dawn of War 3.
Really? Oh, Dawn of War 3? Really?
From back in 2017, yeah.
Yeah. It probably didn't last long.
Some Dawn of War 2v2 from back in 2005. Yeah, it looks like it's just really... yeah, it's not like a huge esport. Seems like there's been some small tournaments here and there, mostly around release. So, although when they released Dawn of War 3, it seems like they wanted it to become an esport, but it just didn't go that way. But it doesn't look like Dawn of War 2 really ever picked up much traction.
I don't think they.
But as far as
needed
what I'm
the
seeing here, it says
esports.
that Dawn of War 2 definitely maybe seems like it has, like, content-wise, had the most potential to be. But
Yeah. It
I-
just,
if you know more
no
about Warhammer esports, I'd love to know about it. I love watching esports. I watch Counter-Strike stuff. I watch Counter-Strike esports. I watch Smash Bros. I watch. I don't know if you count speedrunning as esports, but I watch speedrunning.
speedrunning is
so
a different world, dude.
it's if you. I mean, some of the orgs have speedrunners. Like CLG had
Where are these guys
speedrunners
from?
back in the day and stuff like that. So, if you, some of those esports orgs had dedicated speedrunners, yeah. But if
There
you
we
know
go.
more about Warhammer esports, I would love to see it. Because part of me has, I don't necessarily want to watch an esport for something that I don't play. So like, I know Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, like, huge esports, or they were at least, but I haven't played either of those games.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go watch Warcraft 3 until the day I play it, which I want to play that one day because I love these kind of games and I like WoW, so I would probably like Warcraft 3. But hey,
Yeah.
we got some orcs.
Yeah.
Much like you boys. But if do you play as the orcs next, or you're still Space Marines? You're still Space Marines after this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're just getting to see. They're setting up the orcs boss.
Okay. Yeah, but if you know anything about Dawn of War esports, like, I would love to get into it because I would probably end up playing these games, and so that means I would enjoy watching it as well. So,
Yeah.
if you know anything,
Nate, if you play these and
Send
you
it our way.
if you really start thinking your hot stuff, I'll play it. You'll probably win. because I don't look at build orders.
I don't want to compete at every game I play, Brandon.
Oh, by the way, we're gonna get Big Boss Org Among Us.
Yeah, I'm a competitive guy, and I like competitive games and esports, but I don't want to compete at every game. I have watched some competitive Halo also.
Yeah.
But not as much, although Halo's super fun. Yeah. All right,
Anyways,
skirmish time.
Those are the first 3 levels of the campaign. There is about 7 or 8 missions. The last few actually get quite long, and with this campaign actually involves the Eldar and the Chaos get involved pretty thoroughly.
Okay.
And there has some really, really cool cinematic moments.
That's cool.
Do you care about spoilers?
They might.
I won't spoil it. I'll tell you later.
Great.
It's really cool.
So, the campaign, you're probably going to play that.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're getting the game, that's the first thing you do. Play the campaign. But you might go, what are these other things? Skirmish mode, what? Just tell us what that is.
Skirmish is...
You choose your map and your army and you play, or?
Yes. So you choose... These are all the maps. And so the number next to the name represents how many different teams can be there.
Okay.
So you can have 2 players on this map. But you can go to Penal Colony and have up to 8.
And so you have all these players and you're basically doing the same kind of instances as the story, but it's just not linear. It's just
Kind
real
of,
time.
yeah.
Okay,
So-
what about those other modes like Army Painter, and you want to talk about those?
Multiplayer, the only way to play is online.
Is
And-
this just online skirmish?
Yeah, so these are actual players. This guy right here is a sweaty tryhard. Looking by
4
the
stars, yeah.
There are all these rooms. Generally, most of them are going to be empty.
It's an old game.
Yeah, if you want to find one that's full, that's a great
Probably
name.
depends on the
Anyways.
Warhammer game, yeah.
But yeah, no, if you want to find a good one, usually Soulstorm will have more players.
Okay.
In fact, they'll have a lot more players.
Okay.
That's multiplayer. Then you have Army Painter.
Boom.
You can customize your look.
Want to
So,
make yourself an army?
Let's go to New Scheme. What do you want to call your Space Marines?
Okay, so like we know Blood Angels, we know Ultramarines, we know.
This could be.
What about?
He's thinking quite heavily about this name.
Sky Wrestlers? There we go.
There we go. Okay. So, what color? What's the primary color of the Sky Wrestlers?
Okay, we gotta do the Nacho Libre light blue with red accents.
Light blue, like that, or
Yeah,
All right.
that's pretty good.
Secondary, how red?
That's a fine red.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then trim.
That's
Lighter,
fine.
darker?
I'm fine with that.
You want
maybe
black?
a little lighter. Maybe a little lighter. Yeah, we're good
There
with
we
that.
go.
We'll keep that
Okay.
there.
Weapon.
Yeah, we'll keep the weapons the
Pitch
same.
black.
Yeah,
All right.
Trim.
And then trim 2.
yeah, we can keep that there.
That's
fine.
fantastic. Let's look at their
Badge.
badges.
Get something Nacho Libre-esque.
I don't know Nacho Libre. This is you.
Okay. Do you have anything that looks like toast, or chips,
Toast or chips?
or an eagle? Is that eagle enough?
That's a raven.
Hey, that's kind of an eagle.
This. Oh.
We'll go
yeah.
with that.
Okay.
His eagle powers. Boom,
And
that's
then-
perfect. There we go.
All right. There we go.
The Sky
Apply.
Wrestlers.
Save scheme.
Yeah, and
Sky
so now when you
Wrestler.
look at the armies, you don't just have
So when you go skirmish,
you don't just have access to the other normal armies, but now you can play as the Sky Wrestlers.
We will do Biffy's Peril.
Boom.
Okay. That's a 4-player, so there'll be me plus 3 bots.
3 bots. Okay.
So yeah, actually, look at that, Sky Wrestlers. So when I
Yeah.
play as Space Marines, I'll play as that paint scheme.
Okay.
All right. So I also could do random. I have change that. It's default. Go to standard. By the way, I want to point out in this game, easy, good for beginners. Standard, medium difficulty.
Yeah.
The difficulty spikes significantly.
On hard.
It go from standard to hard is a jump. From hard to harder is insanity. And harder to insane, the bots cheat.
That's crazy.
And there are people who do that. You have different game modes. You have Annihilate, which is you have to destroy every single building the enemy has.
Okay.
Assassinate, where everyone spawns with a leader, And then
Okay.
you have to keep your leader alive. If your leader dies, you lose. You have control area, which is capture all the points
Can
on
you
the
turn
map.
all them on?
They kind of conflict with each other
Okay.
sometimes. Control area, if you have the most strategic points on the map or the critical locations, you will win based on that.
Yeah.
So all of these are actually rule sets you can play on the tabletop game as well, on the tabletop war game.
Yeah.
Destroy HQ is just destroy their headquarters building, their main building they start with. Economic victory, you're trying to get to a certain resource cap before everyone else. Game timer, it just tells you how long you've been going. Take and hold is similar to capturing critical locations, except it's whoever has the most strategic points.
Yeah.
And sudden death, take any strategic point from any enemy to eliminate them. So if I take a strategic point from someone, they die.
Wow.
I'm not going to do that. We'll do
'Cause you
assassinate.
don't want to lose any either.
We'll do assassinate for now.
Okay.
That's a good way to go.
And annihilate. Annihilate,
Yeah.
assassinate, destroy HQ. Game
So
time.
if for some reason one of them like hides their commander in a corner of the map and I can't find them, I can just
Yeah.
destroy their base.
All right.
I'm going to do 3 randoms, and I'll play as Space Marines.
Boom. Here we go.
Start game. Loads fast. I love the
Fast
thumbnails.
ram.
I love the thumbnails, dude. All right, so
Oh, there we go.
you like that color
I
scheme?
love those colors. That's funny.
On alert, brothers. The enemy
Our force commander, Nacho Libre.
Oh, that's gonna mess me up. So there's one base here, one base here, one base here, one base here. Oh yeah, I wish you could name him Nacho Libre. That'd be
That'd be funny.
sick.
You should change your Steam name. Nacho Libre. Oh, just be a Nacho Libre stand
So
page.
depending on which bots I get, if there's orcs, they're gonna be aggressive. If
Okay.
there's chaos, they're
And
gonna
you don't know.
No, I have no idea what they
Yeah.
are because of Fog of War.
So there's no fog of war on the map right now in the sense that it's black, but you don't. There's no like black, like actual stuff that you can't see, but you can't see the enemies yet because you haven't seen them in person.
Correct. But once I know, I know.
When you know, you know.
When you know, you know. So I am a turd in this game mode. I just keep my commander at the base.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, what am I gonna do? Send him out there and have him die?
Does he respawn?
No.
Okay.
If he
so
dies,
only in
I'm
the
out.
story.
If he dies, I'm out.
Okay, so he only respawns in the story.
Yes.
Okay.
The whole
Wow.
point of assassinate is they're trying to kill your commander to eliminate you from the game.
Yeah.
Position
That's wild.
secure.
Yeah. I go here.
Shots in position. Strategic point identified.
These guys are almost done, and then I'll have them go here.
Sense danger. We will root it out.
Yeah, seems like this game was really well received. Generally got
It's such a good game.
ratings in the high 80s, low 90s,
Yeah.
and almost like got seemingly what's the word when you have nominated? That's the word I'm looking for. It got seemingly nominated for many like best of awards, or
Yeah.
was a runner up on many best of lists in the first years it came out, and didn't really make a lot of those, but didn't win any from what it looks like. But
This
yeah,
game is
it's
truly iconic. Oh, we got Eldar.
it seems like it's such a was a pretty big deal, and we don't see, as far as sci-fi strategy games go, so we don't. It's just kind of interesting because I never heard of Warhammer until you know told me about it. So
Yeah, this game got big for a while. So right now I have all my units pushed out and capturing what's called a relic. A relic is something you have to own. You have to own and have something built on it in order to have the most powerful units your faction can have unlocked.
okay,
So if I don't possess this, I just straight up can't have certain units that make it much easier to win the game.
Orders.
wow,
A couple things for scouts, and if you want them to have the ability to go invisible or infiltrate, you have to research it. There's a lot of things the campaign just gives you that you do not receive otherwise. So you have to actually tech into it in this.
is that a little bit of a learning curve when you're first
Yeah,
playing
so-
skirmish mode of trying to figure out why don't I have this anymore? Or?
balancing out your economy is huge, and knowing just being able to identify hey, I need to upgrade this research at this time, or else I'm going to be behind on the curve. I'll probably lose if I don't do that, right?
Yeah.
I am not good at this game. I have fun with this game. There's a difference.
You've played a lot though, so
I understand.
someone like me who hasn't played any Dawn of War would not necessarily be able to do what you can do.
Yet. It wouldn't take you long, I don't think. You two, once that's built... Cool. You're upgraded. Whoa, what the... okay. Yeah, that radar bug's messing me up, dude.
Yeah, I wonder why that happened.
So
You'd
that's
think maybe they would have patched that over the years or something. Hey, it'd be kind of cool if they
I've
made
never had this bug before. So.
They made a Dawn of War remastered or something. I just missed that.
That would be cool, but also I don't
Just-
see them doing it.
Give us a bundle, upscale it, and make it 1080,
There we go.
920, 1080, and
Let me see.
maybe do some QOL updates. Or throw some like shaders and lighting. You don't need to necessarily actually completely remake the models and stuff, but that would be kind of cool.
Dude, someone is building on the spot I want.
Go blow them up, dude.
I'm doing it. I've just sent people over. I just need to... Gimme.
So what's your approach here?
Me, I'm taking control.
Okay.
It's like in Counter-Strike, you want to take map control, right? So you need space. You need resources.
You want information. You want position on the map.
I like to rapidly capture as many points as I can and then immediately reinforce them so they're hard to take.
Okay.
And in this case, I don't want them to have a relic. By the way, you're fighting yourself here. They're using the same paint scheme as you.
Wow. Kind of weird how that happened.
Half of your chapter went traitor. You're having a civil war. Also,
The
this is
evil Nacho
brutal
Libres.
right here in the middle. So I'm fighting orcs, evil Nacho Libres, and Eldar.
Got it.
And right now,
That's their commander. You gotta stop that guy.
get out of there. Get out of there. That's a commander. I don't like that.
Scouts in position.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and by the way, commanders in skirmish mode are actually scary. Ugh. So this is literally the choke point into my base. So I'm just gonna... Ooh! You two, come here. Where's my commander? Do I get him in the fight?
On the left, brothers. The enemy must be nearby.
No! Run! Don't die, you idiot! Move! Oh, okay, well, he's done. They're bugging right now. He's dead. I'm about to wipe them out from the game.
Yeah, because he's dead. Man, that seems so stupid of the AI.
Well, it's on normal. It's not on hard or anything.
Yeah, and so you talked about the huge AI spike that happens. The huge
yeah.
difficulty spike. Probably a better AI wouldn't have sent out their leader like that.
They would, but they would send them with a massive army.
Okay.
So, difficult AI tend to be extremely aggressive at the beginning of the game. So they'll build an
That makes
army
sense, though.
and immediately bum rush your base.
Because the difference between, and this is the same in any game. This is any competitive game. Counter-Strike, Halo, Smash Bros, Street Fighter, games like this. Whether or not you like know a lot or have a lot of, have spent a lot of time with the game, the thing that separates like a good player from a bad player is whether or not you get overwhelmed by aggression. Because someone who's new at the game, or who's not confident in their own abilities, or was not prepared for something, aggression will totally just shut them down.
It's super difficult to deal with aggression in this game at times. Because like right now, if all these orcs rushed my middle, they'd probably wipe me out. but they won't, because they suck.
Standard AI, everybody.
And now I do this. So the reason I put sniper rifles as soon as I possibly can, sniper rifles destroy morale, and morale is a big point in this game. If your squad,
You mean enemy morale?
just in general, each squad has morale. So that blue bar is their morale. If that goes to 0 or gets low, your squad will be broken. They'll
Okay.
lose cohesion, they'll do less damage, and they'll take more damage.
Okay.
So things like units with flamethrowers will destroy morale. Sniper rifles will destroy morale.
So you destroy them first. Oh, I thought you were saying.
Yeah, so see how their blue bar
I
is
thought
going
you were
down?
saying you build them in order to destroy enemy more. Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
it works
I do
both
that
ways.
too.
It works both
Yeah, it
ways.
works all
Got
ways.
it. Yeah. What about do they have like healing units? So you talked about sending in your commander first, but if it's a mode where your commander would die, should you send them in? Is there ever a situation where maybe you would send in your
Like an apothecary.
commander and then so there are healers. So you would
They're not
you
powerful.
would have your commander, a bunch of space marines, and maybe a healer or two.
The healers do not do a particularly high amount of healing. Also, it's a 1v1 now. One of the other commanders died.
Oh, yeah, this is going quick.
Yeah, I told you, this is a quick game mode. Oh, yeah, the Eldar are left. Look at this. Big army. I'm gonna go crush them. So they have ranger squads and guardians. They're attacking my... Cool.
Yes, most beneficent one. Yes, Lord.
So their commander is gonna be present soon. Yeah, these space marines are gonna rip them apart because they're just better.
Here to serve.
So there are 4 factions in this game. We kind of established that you
Yeah.
can play as.
I can briefly...
Space Marine, Eldar, Orc, and Chaos. Which does that just include Chaos Space Marines or Chaos Orcs or
Chaos Space Marines. There are no Chaos Orcs.
Just Chaos Eldar or whatever. Dark Eldar, right? Isn't that what that
Dark
is?
Eldar and Soulstorm.
Okay. Yeah, but from what I'm reading, in the other 3 games, the 3 expansions, Winter Assault, Dark Crusade, Soulstorm, they added 5 more factions.
Including Necron, Tau, Sisters of Battle, Dark Eldar, and Imperial Guard.
Okay. Which I think, Imperial Guard, so that's playing as Guardsmen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Which is crazy. In Dark Crusade, the Space Marines and Guardsmen actually fight each other because the Space Marines command the Guardsmen to leave the planet because they don't want them to be corrupted by chaos or something along those lines. And the Guardsman militant governor says, I can't leave. My orders are to defend this world.
Oh man.
And so directly defies, I won.
You won. Wow.
So then I can look at the map, you can see what I had, yada yada, etc.,
Wow.
etc. But yeah. So
That was quick, dude.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
told you I put
So
on
this is
assassinate.
one of my favorite things that games do. Where
You
they
get to
go,
see your
hey,
stats.
do you like the game? Here, your reward for playing the game is more game to play. That's something that I love about roguelikes. That's something that I love about games that have, like, for lack of a better term, completion bonuses that give you access to other areas of the game. Is that, hey, you like the game, here's more ways to play it, more opportunities.
Let me show you something. Dark Crusade. We'll go here. This is what, a year? A 1 year jump?
2
that
years.
and this? 2 years jump? And you'll see there's a slight difference in quality, but not much. It's made by most of the same developers, I believe.
Sega and THQ and Relic, yeah. So this is your favorite, is Dark Crusade, and
Yeah.
this is 2 years later. Are those Necrons?
That is a Necron.
Okay.
Yep. This is actually, I think, the first medium where the Necrons were in it. Were in a game.
I actually think Necrons, they're probably my second favorite race in Warhammer.
They're
so
truly terrifying.
I recommend that you watch Luton's video on the races and learn about the Necrons because they're super cool. So this is Dark Crusade.
It's Dark
Yeah,
Crusade.
it doesn't look like too big of a jump, but hey, it's
But it looks pretty.
16 by 9.
So
Takes up the whole
difference
screen.
in the campaign. One, I have like, oh, did I lose my?
Oh, did you lose it when you reset your computer?
It's very possible.
Plot. The planet Cronus. The Klingon homeworld.
There's actually a narrator.
This once quiet colony became a savage battlefield. 7 armies clashed on this one world, each refusing to back down. Each convinced it was in the
It is a
right.
grim visage, this war, but it is a 7-way war.
7-way?
There's 7 different factions in a free-for-all.
So what are we talking about? We're talking Necrons,
He's gonna go through
Imperium,
Chaos.
Chaos.
It's going through them now.
Okay, so it started with Chaos and Necron.
To enforce their claim. To oppose these
The
fierce
Tau.
powers.
By the way, for those of you who are like anime weebs, the Tau are pretty cool. They literally run around in giant mech suits
They're cool, yeah.
with overwhelming firepower and technology.
Imperium, so that's 4.
There to secure Cronus for the glory of the God Emperor. Like a green tide.
5. Good old orcs.
Baby, I love how
The
they portray
orcs
them.
are here, kick butt.
Oh yeah,
That's
by the
a
way,
T-Rex.
that's
It's
a
not a
swig.
T-Rex, but that looks like a dinosaur.
That's a swig.
Eldar.
Armies of the Necrons
That's cool.
So the Eldar are the oldest enemies. of
Yeah,
the
Eldar
Necrons.
and Necron have some cool connections.
last came
And
the
then,
Yeah, that's 7.
yeah.
finest and most
7-way war.
uncompromising of the
Wow.
Imperium soldiers. Seeing a
So yeah, the Space Marines are there to purge the planet, and they're like, guardsmen leave. And the guardsmen said no.
We literally can't, so...
And the Space Marines are
Wow.
like, well, unfortunately, we have to purge you too. Then I'm very sorry. And they're like, I guess we'll
They
fight.
got a flawed system, man. There's some failure
Yes, it
of
is.
leadership. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you get to pick your faction.
Yeah. So Dawn of War goes, here's one campaign, and then in multiplayer and skirmish mode, you can play as the other 3 styles. Did Winter Assault also just have one campaign?
They had 2.
They had 2.
You can play as the good guys or the bad guys.
Okay, and then in this game, they go, here's 7 different stories.
And in Soulstorm, they say, here's 9.
Dude. And they're all different?
Yep.
Are they all about the same size?
But check this out. So
Or-
say I
or
go
what?
Space Marines and I hit start. Each race gets their own designated cutscene and explanation of their story.
Why they're doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is
from his chapter master and chief librarian.
By the way, that's what I mean by the Imperium. They're like, here's a giant lightning hammer and a shield. Go run at them. They can't hurt you because
Yeah.
your armor is stronger than
Master
them.
had
Well.
told Fuel that ancient relics of the chapter were hidden on Cronus.
Oh, it's so
Artifacts
cool.
from the mysterious early years of the Blood Ravens. These sacred
Yeah.
items could not be allowed
This is
to
old
fall
fashioned
into
computer
alien
game
hands.
stuff for sure.
But it looks better than Game of the Year edition already.
Ordered the
Oh yeah.
withdrawal of the Imperial Guard
Yeah.
forces
This
stationed
tells you
in Victory
basically what
Bay.
happened.
But Governor Alexander flatly refused to pull his men back. Fuel judged the governor a good man, but had
Man,
little
that's
choice
crazy.
but to send
He had no
his
choice.
Space Marines to battle the governor's troops, along with all the other powers on Cronus. The Blood Ravens' willingness to fight soldiers of the Imperium.
Which, by the way, 3 companies of Space Marines, that's 300 Space
The
Marines,
relics on Cronus
were sent to purge a planet. That's how powerful Space Marines are.
That's
only
crazy.
the wars
That's the risk style.
This is
okay.
the map. So then
Okay.
each level
So
you go
explain this to
into,
me.
right? So here's your capital. I'm going to dismiss you. You have your capital. Everyone has their capital. When you capture their capital, they lose.
Okay.
If you capture a tile their commander is standing on, their commander goes to the next tile they own.
Okay.
Different tiles have different things that they give you. For example, so each tile has a bit of lore, and each one has like a different thing they give you. So if I capture the spaceport here, then I can deep strike anywhere that is not a capital on the map on my turn.
Well,
Also, these numbers here, that is the defense rating. So if I attack that, that's generally the difficulty I would have capturing that zone.
okay.
As the game
So
goes
you
on,
would right now you would probably start with the 1s or the 3s.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, when I capture them, the bonuses, that's the reward I would receive for accomplishing that mission.
Okay.
I would get an honor guard that I get at the beginning of every battle,
Yeah.
and I get him to accompany my captain at the beginning of every battle as like a little boost.
That's cool.
And then some territories give like forward base,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Increased manpower, things like that.
One
And then-
said Dreadnought, but yeah. So as you play the story, you unlock more stuff. That's
you get
pretty
more
cool.
and more stuff to give you advantages.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to periodically take over each enemy capital and
Yeah.
win.
Wow. And
I
so
would-
each of the 7 has their own story. Which one of them's canon?
I believe the Space Marine Victory one is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool though. So it is still these Dawn of War games are all kind of the story of the Blood Ravens, but there's still
Yeah. Which
room to tell the what ifs.
I go back to what I said earlier. The Blood Ravens are definitely Mary Sue's, but in a cool way. Because their chapter has been on the edge of extinction multiple times.
Yeah.
Because they're spending
they're fighting all
of
these guys,
the
man.
1,000 maximum battle brothers they have, they sent 300 here. That is a third of their chapter's strength to this planet. I'm going to tell you, over half of them die. Also, they were not at 1,000 Space Marines when they did this action. They were
Yeah.
at like 700.
That's wild, man.
And so then, shortly after the events of this, their chapter gets destroyed again when half of them turn traitor, and Gabriel Angelos has to purge his own chapter twice against the chapter master who fell to chaos. It's super crazy.
Wow.
Their story is nuts. During the events of the first game, Gabriel Angelos runs into an Inquisitor who's investigating the world for corruption, earns an Inquisitor's respect, and is given a relic demon hammer, a hammer that kills demons. He's super cool. Anyways, yeah.
Final thoughts on Dawn of War, Brandon?
It is one of my favorite series of all time. It is super, super underrated. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's great.
Pretty cool looking for sure. Yeah, I think I definitely want to try these. Like Warhammer, very interesting to me. Very different kind of fantasy storytelling. Just for me, it's so much more than, so much different than just Halo or Star Wars or anything like that. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. We hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. And yeah, that was Dawn of War. Cool. Boom.